Hi YouTube, this is Frank from Architectural Aesthetics. Today in this video, I'm showing you guys a sample presentation for my third year architecture theoretical course. The objective of this assignment is to come up with an ecological friendly design for a problematic site. The particular site our group was assigned with is the southeast Highland Creek located in the city of Toronto. It's on the intersection of Lawrence and Kennedy. From these site surveying photos, it is very clear that the creek is heavily polluted by the nearby industrial buildings, because our site doesn't have any means for stormwater management. Therefore, given the context, our minor intervention stage focuses primarily on stormwater management. Our objective is to add to the biodiversity and improve our water quality through 3 actionable steps. The first one is about bioretention, which will use rain gardens and permeable pavings to filtrate small events of stormwater. Our second step is to install an overflow drainage system so that larger events of stormwater will be diverted to a sewage system. And our last step involves biofiltration, in which we'll equip our site with freshwater mussel friendly features and essentially use them as a means for biofilters. This process requires the active participation from ecologists and civil engineers, and the graphic you're seeing right now is an exploded axonometric drawing showing how the 3 different steps are coming together. So the first component in our bioretention treatment is the use of rain gardens. We propose to use hydraulic soil type A or B for the beds of our plantations simply because of their high filtration rates. As for the plantations themselves, we're looking at native Ontario species that are beautiful to look at, that are resilient, meaning they deal with droughts pretty well, and that also require very little maintenance. So on the screen you can see several native Ontario annuals, including the Dusty Miller and the California Poppy, which I think all fit the above mentioned criteria pretty well, as they also facilitate on-site biodiversity by attracting butterflies and many other insects. As for our waterfront bike lanes, we're proposing to implement permeable pavings, as they too require very little maintenance. They also allow us to expand our stormwater filtration surface area while reducing the risk of hydroplaning during very cold weathers. We recognize that the water filtration capacity through bioretention alone isn't enough to deal with larger events of stormwater, so we propose to implement this overflow drainage system as demonstrated in this illustration, so that excess of stormwater will be stopped by the yellow curbs and redirected to a sewer system, hence prevented from contaminating the site. And our final step is about biofiltration. To be more specific, we're interested in utilizing the water cleansing ability of the freshwater mussels and use them as a means for biofilters. So just a very brief intro to these creatures. They are filter feeders, meaning they feed on the small suspended particles in water, and each of them cleanses around half a liter of water per hour. And during that time, they remove anywhere between 7 to 30% of the non-chemical pollutants in the water. They also have a relatively long lifespan, as they live on for decades and remain relatively active during the winters, which make them the ideal agent as our biofilters. The other reason why we wanted to introduce these creatures to our site is because currently there are more than 8 different species of native Ontario mussels are currently being endangered, partially because of the heavy urban pollutions and partially because of the foreign invasive species such as the zebra mussels from the Europe, as they suffocate and feed on other mussels, which is seen in the picture below. And once again, stemming from the low maintenance mentality, we propose to implement rocks and boulders to the bed of our creek so that first of all they can slow down the water current, and secondly they also provide necessary habitats for our freshwater mussels. And finally, just to very quickly recap our points, during our minor intervention stage we're proposing to increased biodiversity and water quality through bioretention, overflow drainage system, and biofiltration. And the graphic you're seeing right now is a perspective hand rendering of how our team envisioned our site would be like after the necessary steps were taken place. So once again, stormwater management merely constitutes our minor intervention, which was my responsibility in this project. Our intermediate and major intervention include adding to the connectivity and enforcing social interactions to our site through implementing sitting areas and a cafe. Unfortunately, since I wasn't actively involved with my colleagues responsible for these portions, all I can do at this point is to show you the graphics they made. I was lucky to have a supportive and brilliant team, and I am very proud of our final result. Our presentation was very well received, as our instructor commended the graphics we made and the novelty in using living organisms as a means to solve ecological problems instead of blindly pursuing biodiversity as an end. He also gave us many valuable feedbacks. One was to consider planting perennials in our rain gardens instead of annuals, as the latter can be problematic once they started spreading. So I hope you find this video informative. I will be linking the time-lapse videos showing how I made the graphics used in the presentation in the description box. If this is the first time you're on this channel, please subscribe for more architecture-related contents, and I'll be seeing all of you in the next video. Bye bye.